Words about the European Federation of Tourist Guide Associations, where the Ukraine Association is a member in the last couple of years, and also some words about training and about the European standards. And afterwards also Marian will talk more about the standards, and if you want to discuss or ask any questions, you can talk about it. So the FEG, as it's mentioned shortly, FEG, the European Federation of Tourist Guide Associations, was founded 32 years ago in Paris, France, and it's the main European federation, the only one that represents the tourist guides around Europe, except from the World Federation, of course, that has a lot of members all over the world. And we see the next one. Is the previous one. As I was elected 3 years ago as the president of the federation. I used to be the president of the Greek Federation of Tourist Guide Associations as well. For many years I'm involved in the executive committees, and I'm also accredited as a FEG tourist guide trainer. So this is why I'm also involved in training and in tourist guides standards and practical training too. And we see the next one with the photograph is our recent executive committee. Until last week we were in Crete. In Greece we had our annual general meeting where Natalia was representing you from Ukraine in the delegates annual meeting, and the elected ones at the moment are 4 of us. The first on the left is a new member of the board from the UK. She's called Themis Halvanzi Stringer, and she's a blue badge tourist guide in London. She's qualified in London. I am the next one on the left. Paulo in the middle is our treasurer from Portugal, Paulo Cosme. Then the blonde one on the right of Paulo is not elected. She's our secretary, so she helps us. She's also a tourist guide, Jane Purcell-Brick. She's from Scotland, but she's qualified in the Gran Canaria in Spain. So she lives in Gran Canaria for almost 30 years as a Spanish guide. And the last one on the right is Norma Clarkson from Scotland. So she's also elected, and she's representing the UK in the last few years. So if we go to the next one with the text, you will see the FEG members are now 25. Most of them are member countries of the European Union, but we also have others which are not, like Albania, Ukraine, Russia, that they joined FEG in the last few years. And the last one, United Kingdom, has 4 associations of tourist guides, but they have one vote in the meetings. It's England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland all together as one country. So then the next one is about the last AGM we had in Crete. That was on the 24th and 25th of November. These are the delegates who were present there. And we have our meeting for 2 full days in the general meeting of the delegates. But the ones of you who have been to our general meetings will know that they are always combined with a lot of events, guided tours, gala dinners, a lot of different social events. It's not only the delegates, but the delegates meeting is always for a weekend. For 2 days we meet there. So the next one is about tourist guides, standardization of terminology. There is a standard in Europe, it was voted in 2003, and it's called EN 13809. This was like a dictionary. It still exists, and it's the vocabulary somebody should use in tourism in general. One of these terms which is standardized by the European Committee of Standardization, by CEN, we call it CEN, it's CEN, the European Committee of Standardization, is this number 235, which is the term for tourist guide. So we always call ourselves tourist guides in English, not tour guides. This is the right European term for our profession, and this is very important. So if you call us tour guides, it's not the correct official terminology, and it's something that is used in the USA. But the European standardization says tourist guides, and we always try to write and to introduce ourselves to our visitors with the word tourist guide. So this says that tourist guide is a person who guides visitors in the language of their choice and interprets the cultural and natural heritage of an area, which person normally possesses an area-specific qualification, usually issued and or recognized by the appropriate authority. So to make this short sentence, it took some years. It was not easy. FEG was representing the tourist guides, travel agents were on one side, there were hotels, there were all kinds of tourism industry stakeholders, and they always try to find consensus when they make standards. So even this one, which to some people might not seem very detailed or the ideal term, it's good enough, because otherwise we wouldn't have anything to confirm what a tourist guide is in Europe. So this one was adopted by some European countries as a term. Some other countries have their own national term. For example, in the Greek law, in the Greek legislation where I come from, we have a more detailed term than this. In our law, it has more explanations, but this is what any country can use in their own legislation. The next one is the FEG constitution. The aims of the constitution of FEG is to group together the tourist guide associations of the countries of Europe, to strengthen the professional links of members, to promote and safeguard their personal interests, to represent the profession of tourist guide in Europe, in particular at European Union level with the European Commission and the European Parliament, at the national government level within each member country, in order to take care of specific issues, to publicize and improve the quality of service offered by the tourist guiding profession at European level, to organize meetings, conventions, seminars, workshops in order to encourage cultural and training exchanges for the further consolidation of tourist guide relations. So these are written in our constitution. There are many more things written, but I'm telling you the main aims of FEG. The next one is the FEG promoting our profession as tourist guides. And its members. The way we promote our members and our profession is through our website with links to all our members, own page on web pages and their guides directories. The Top Tourist Guide web portal, which is called toptouristguides.com. And recently we have signed an agreement with a new app, a smartphone application, which is called Live or Live, and it's based in Norway. So this will be spreading all over Europe slowly in the next couple of years, and somebody who wants to book private guides for private tour, he can book the guide directly from his phone and pay directly, pay online. And this is now developed. It's a new project that we just started with a Norway company called Live. So Natalia was there when the Live company presented their application in Crete a few days ago. So you will be informed about this when it comes to Ukraine. For the moment they just started from Madrid, London, Oslo and Copenhagen, and they will slowly be around Europe in the next couple of years. So we issue the FEG Euro letter twice a year. This one you can get from your association because it has all the news about the important news about FEG and about Europe and tourist guide. So this is issued for everybody, for all the members of the association. The International Tourist Guide Day we celebrate on the 21st of February. I understand that in Ukraine this is not a good date. That was I was told 2 years ago when we were discussing about the anniversary of Tourist Guide Day. So that's where all the tourist guides around the world try to promote themselves as a profession, to create events, to offer free tours to the public, to schools, to anybody. So we try to put our events on the websites, on Facebook, so that people know about what we're doing. And if you're on Facebook, you can find our page called FEG Tourist Guides, to like it, to click on like, and you will watch all the news from there. Not just FEG news, tourism and cultural news in Europe in general. So the next one is also about promoting of our profession. We represent our associations in EU meetings in Brussels on our behalf in order that our profession's voice is heard. We are members of Europa Nostra, which is the main cultural organization of the EU. We are members of CEPLIS, which is the European Council of Liberal Professions. CEPLIS is based in Brussels, and it's a group of lobbying with politicians in Brussels. So when we want to ask something from the European Union directors and we cannot travel to Brussels all the time ourselves, we can ask it through CEPLIS, and they represent us. We are also members in the European Standardization Committee, which is SEN, I mentioned earlier. We are members of the European Tourism Manifesto group, which includes travel agencies, hotels, tour operators, campsites, railways, anybody you can imagine in Europe. In tourism is partners in the European Tourism Manifesto. And when we want to ask something from the European Commission or from the Parliament, European Parliament, we can ask it all together. So this is very important because it has a lot of power as a group. And finally, members of the World Travel Market in London. So all of these people help us lobbying about in Europe, and they help us promote our profession in Europe. The next one is also about promoting tourist guides. We have opportunities to enjoy network in every annual European tourist guide meeting, like we had in Crete last month. Next month, I don't know if you heard the news that the next European meeting is going to be in Portugal, in Faro. Faro is south Portugal, so it's going to be warm weather again, like in Crete. In November, after the 19th of November, so anybody who is a colleague from our members can join this one. In these meetings, we give the opportunity to tourist guides to exchange information, to talk about their experiences, and to learn how issues are dealt with in other countries. We provide an open window to colleagues and authorities of the rest of Europe, and we inform you about important regulations, standards, news and ideas other FEG member associations have. The next one is the promotion again in partnership with the European Network of Accessible Tourism, which is called ENAT. We promote tourism for all in Europe, and we offer CPD for tourist guides on accessible tourism. CPD is something that you will also see later in the slides. It means in English continuous professional development. It's lifelong learning. This is CPD, or lifelong learning for all professionals, like for tourist guides. So we cooperate with ENAT, and we have seminars about accessible tourism, like the one we created 3 years ago, and it's called T-Guide. It's guiding people with learning difficulties. And we offer this one with certification. And the other seminar is called Tourism for All, that is about guiding people with mobility problems, with sight problems, or with hearing problems. This is not only with special needs, but also includes older people we have in our groups all the time, that they might have not a very serious health problem, but they cannot see very well, they cannot hear very well, or they cannot walk very well. So this includes everything, because we all have older, senior people in our groups. So the next one, please, is about the other promotion that is together with the World Federation of Tourist Guide Associations. We signed an agreement last year with the World Federation, and we try to promote our qualifications, and we deal with about common issues on tourist guiding across the world. For example, free tours is a common problem that is spread all over the world. Finally, we support tourist guide training and work through the SEN European standards. The one I mentioned earlier, that was the terminology of tourist guide, is the first standard from 2003. And the other one we will mention later is the important one about our training from 2008. The next one is the tourist guide, which is, we all support tourist guide as an area-specific profession, which means that our profession is always related to a country, region, or city. And we are qualified in this place, in this area, in theory and in practice. Qualified tourist guides always hold the qualification for their area of work. This qualification can be a badge, it can be an ID, can be a professional card. There are all kinds of qualifications. Some are like this, we're wearing, some others are in pins like the blue badge guide, some others are cards like ID, so there are different kinds, but tourist guides always have something like that. There is no pan-European or no universal guide qualification. It does not exist, because we are always trained, qualified and examined for our own country or our own area. So this is clear, because this is what we do and we like to support. The next one, in the terminology standards, the same one I mentioned earlier about tourist guide, there is another term which is called tour manager. The tour manager is not the same. He is the person who manages and supervises the itinerary on behalf of the tour operator, ensuring the program is carried out and described in the tour operator's literature and sold to the traveler consumer, and who gives local practical information. I hope this is clear to everybody, that the tour manager is not guiding. He takes care of the logistics to make sure that what the travel agency sells to the client is what is written in the program and what is given as services. Sometimes tourist guides can be tour managers, traveling with groups, let's say from Ukraine to another country, traveling with a Ukrainian group to another country, but so normally they're not going to guide. They're not going to guide in that other country. I mean, if they want to respect the tourist guides of the other countries, they would, the travel agency would have to hire somebody from the other country who has the qualification and do the guiding. And we sometimes act as tour managers just for the practical things when we go abroad. The next one is another slide about terminology. Tour escort. This is even simpler. It's the person, the representative of a tour operator, providing basic assistance to travelers. So this is something very easy, like sending somebody to do an airport transfer, or to go from the hotel to the restaurant, or from the hotel to the theater. He's not going to be with the group for days or do all the practical things, but usually this is what we call tour escort in the European terminology. The next one is about laws and regulations. Some European countries have strict legislation about tourist guide profession. In some others, our profession is not regulated at all, but all countries offer tourist guide training and exams which are regulated. Which means, for example, in the UK, in London, let's say, blue badge guides are very famous all over the world. So everybody wants to have a blue badge guide, and they know that they are trained and they are examined. They don't have a law to protect the guides. They don't have any regulation in the UK, but they have a very good Institute of Tourist Guiding, which is one who trains them, examines them, and gives them the blue badge qualification. So this is a private Institute of Tourist Guiding that started with guides a few years ago, and now it's very well developed, and it's the only one who qualifies and accredits guides all over the UK. I mean, in Wales, in Scotland, in London, they are all trained by the Institute of Tourist Guiding. So this is what we mean by the second option, that is training is regulated, but the profession in general is not regulated in the UK or in Germany or in Netherlands. They can be different countries. I'll show you in a while. Can we go to the next one? These are the countries where the profession of tourist guide is regulated by law. Some are in the European Union, some are not. We have, for example, Albania and Russia not in the European Union, and Turkey. Turkey is not in the European Union, but all the rest are in the European Union. I'm showing you examples of the ones we know, FEG members or former FEG members. There might be others we don't know about, but these are the ones we know that they have the tourist guide profession regulated in a law. The next one is about non-regulated. These are not regulated by law, these countries, but they have training and they have exams. The Czech Republic, Estonia, Germany, Iceland, Ireland, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, UK, they don't have a law protecting only tourist guides to guide in a country, but they still have the training and exams regulated. So I have the question mark at the end because I see that the situation is not very clear yet. So some say there is regulation, some say no, and we can hear about it from the next speakers. Can we go to the next one? The training is offered sometimes for free, sometimes people pay to be trained, to be tourist guides. And they can be offered by different institutions. Some are tourism authorities, some are ministries, some are universities, private training institutions, vocational schools, tourist guide associations or federations. So all over Europe, all these people can offer training and exams for tourist guides. It depends on the country and on the legislation. The next one, we have a variety of duration in hours. Most countries offer the European standards,